Do political protests have to have ideological moorings for them to be successful?
Mostly, yes, because I've seen Anna Hazare very closely. And Anna Hazare was a movement which had a massive backing from the RSS. So
did we meet back then?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But they let the amorphous face remain. And on the face of it, Anna Hazare movement had no ideology except anti-corruption and bringing in the Lokpal, etc. But then that in itself is to my mind, is a slightly reactionary, right-wing sort of a conceptualization. So Anna Hazare was different in the sense that it had a backing of the RSS. You ask anybody you ask Govindacharya and Ajit Joval.
I must disagree with you. You ask me because I was the co-founder of PCRF, which is why I asked if he'd met, because I used to. So the PCRF is the NGO that had actually was a secretariat for the Indian Against Corruption. So while I was just discussing with Rinchen, on the ground there have been many people with RSS. Prashant Bhushan was there, I was there. We had Akhil Gogoi from Assam was there. The first, and of course it didn't happen in one sitting. Like the first sitting happened in Ramlila, which is a flop, where Ram Jethmalani came, Prashant Bhushan came, everyone came. Then Anna sat the first time in Jantar Mantar, nothing happened. After the fourth or fifth day, something started happening. The second time he sat is when the whole crowds came. So Shri, of course, provided us the tents and all. But the first backing was actually from trade unions and the Communist Party. So I think it's a myth that it had RSS backing. If they are claiming so, I can tell you as the person who signed the checks that paid for the tambus, it had no RSS backing.
In terms of the argument of whether a successful protest movement depends on whether it has ideological moorings or not, I can't. I mean, I'm a little unsure. But I've given the examples that Poornima has given. I'm probably tend to think on those lines. My issue with the Cockroach Janta Party movement, whether it's ideological moorings, I mean, clearly they don't. I don't know if they have any real ideological convictions personally.
I don't think they've thought it through. Actually,
yeah. My concern with them is that their demands are not structural. Their demands are not systemic. It's like resignation, Pradhan ka resignation, and 1 crore compensation.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. Like,
but then what?
So with the argument that I was making earlier was that with all like the major mass protest movements in the last 10, 15 years, they've all, of course, you can argue that they all had some sort of ideological moorings, but also more important, at least from my perspective, more importantly, they had structural systemic demands that would outlast any immediate minister's reshuffle or resignation. That is the point I was making.
What were you, Anand? So does that, work in favor of a movement having ideological moorings, that could actually limit it and inhibit its flexibility?
It has to be ideological, but once you are in an opposition camp and project yourself as a different ideology, then there are a lot of generalities on which a lot of parties would be the same. What is your...
Then you can't stand out.
Yes. What is your product differentiation then? Okay, I am secular, I am people friendly, I have socialist policies, and this...
So that dilutes your USP.
So everyone who is projecting, every political formation projected against the ruling party is saying same thing. So what is your product differentiation? Like anti-corruption, like promoting peace can mean anything to anybody.
Since you talk about the protests, and Sonakshi Sinha has suddenly spoken up, and a few other not big Bollywood stars, but some have. In case you're wondering why the big ones haven't, there is a very specific reason. Newslaundry has done a 3-part series investigation into what turned Bollywood into this arm of the PMO and the RSS. Who are the people behind this entire architecture of Modi's Bollywood? You can click on the link, or you can scan this QR code. Check this out. You can take the Bollywood quiz. If you take the Bollywood quiz and you get it right, in fact, apparently you get one story for free. You don't have to breach the paywall for that. So it's very interesting because it's not just Bollywood, it is politics, Bollywood, drama hai, action hai, sab kuch hai.
Should I sit here? I look straight and talk, right? Please tell us what is happening in Bollywood.
Well, Punjab 95, which is now Satluj, you still can't watch it. It released on OTT but disappeared in no time. But guess what you can watch on OTT? Kerala Stories, Kashmir Files, Bengal Files. And I'm pretty sure you'll get to watch Chauhan on OTT. And it'll probably get a big theatrical release. Maybe it'll even be declared tax-free in Kashmir. You think that's a coincidence? That a certain sort of movie gets released while others get blocked? Well, then I have a story for you. A 3-part News Laundry series on what's really happening in Bollywood.
Reconcile the advantages of being, quick on your feet and changing positions. I mean, does that come from having a rich legacy ki bhai, already aapke cadre itne strong hai ki you can demonstrate this flexibility, and a new movement can't have that? And to what extent can it actually be a asset as opposed to liability, having a ideological kind of...
Well, it's being ideological gives you that mooring and gives you the organizational strength, like the RSS does, or in the farmers union case, they were the farm unions, which gave it structural support, which gave it farmers movement was not just about farm laws. It was also an anti-corporate agenda. They talked about Adani and Ambani taking over the logistics. So it was a very, it gave it a larger perspective and a larger context, right? So it can also give you perspective. It can give you a systemic understanding, ideological moorings. Whereas a non-structural movement like the Cockroach also has the ability to attract a larger mass of people who are not, when you say I am secular, or let's say forget secular, it's become a bad word in India now. I'm anti-corruption. There is nobody in India who will say I will pro-corruption. So all shades of people, it can become an umbrella organization of like the Congress of the pre-independence era. It can have socialists, it can have the right-wingers, it can have a lot of other movements. So it can have that advantage, but if we'll not have the structural strength or the ideological perspective of an organization, of a movement anchored in ideology and organizational strength.
I just think, especially News Laundry audience, one has to be able to listen to things that you disagree with. It doesn't mean that how can you platform such person. I've said many times, I'll talk to anybody as long as it is a conversation that can be had. If one person talks, the other person talks, you don't outshout each other. And the discussion was about Satluj. Now, I think it is an interesting discussion to take further. So, in fact, I've requested our producer Amit to get 4 people, 2 of whom have a very critical view of Hartosh's point of view. So, hopefully, Amit can tell us when we can put that together. So, it'll be a round table, and I'm going to call Hartosh back. Bas, muft mein itna ich milega. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the News Laundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that News Laundry is trying to encourage, where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads, so that news serves the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to News Laundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.